I'll figure it out. I'm sure.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? You already know it's Wednesday. It's not 8 o'clock. It's about 8:12. We had a little technical difficulties there, but, it's out of the box, so that's always going to happen first and foremost. So it's 8 o'clock, and you're listening to College Football Frenzy. Myself, Paul Spencer. I'm followed by Joe Sullivan. Next to Joe with Big Mike. Right below myself, we got a new member here, Tom Sutton, checking in. Of course, our always regular guest, Bill Furman. And we have Sean Kilrain. Guys, how you doing this weekend?
Good, man. Happy New Year.
Good. Tom, can you hear me good? You okay?
I am. I can hear you well, Paul. Thank you.
All right, there we go. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Finally figured it out.
No problem. There you go. Glad to have you here. Welcome to Out of the Box, guys. Like I said, we're tuned into the College Football Frenzy here. But real quick, before we get into college talk, I do want to give prayers for Damar Hamlin out there. I mean, something major happened to him this Monday night. We're all football fans, college, pro, high school. We all follow it. And as you can see, Bill Furman has his picture right there in the logo there. Prayers for Damar out there. We just want to say, Out of the Box, EOP, Devereaux Sports, and all our platforms that we are on, we are praying for you. Get better, because the football is a fraternity of players and a fraternity of fans. And you're dealing with 6 fans here that have your back no matter what. So prayers for you, Damar. We pray for you, brother.
Absolutely. Yep.
Definitely. Well, guys, let's get into what we came here. Let's recap some bowl games. I'll say this real quick. I think this year's bowl games was probably the best I've seen in probably maybe 20, 25 years, honestly.
Absolutely.
As a whole set of games. I don't know where to start. I'll let somebody else start, because I think we can pick any game out there and talk about this whole slate of games we've seen.
Well, let's just get right into the biggest upset right there, TCU over Michigan.
You want to talk about that, Arrogant? Okay, we'll go there.
Yeah. I think that deserves to start off, because nobody had the Horned Frogs winning this game. Nobody.
No, absolutely not.
Especially me. You could call me John Lee, because I thought Michigan was going to win by. I thought Michigan was winning by double figures, bro. You know what I mean?
I think we all did, honestly. I'm looking at the predictions right here, and I don't think anybody had TCU, honestly.
Yeah.
Goodness. I would add that I would not have expected that game to go that way.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, TCU ran all over them. I mean, that team was a stone wall, and TCU ran for, hang on a second, well over 200. They had the backup at 150. Their big back goes out with 57. That's what really surprised me, the way they were able to run the ball on them and then get ahead and stay and outrun them at the end of the game and close it out.
That sealed the deal, yeah.
Yeah, I got to agree with Tom. I actually said here with you guys, I thought Michigan had a chance to win the whole thing because their offensive line was so good. They got punched in the mouth on both sides of the ball and couldn't really respond. That game, really, in my mind, was not as close as the score indicated.
I agree.
TCU took it to them, and they played physical. They got after them.
I agree. I mean, just like Tom said, with your backup coming in, Amari DeMarco had 150 yards, and to me, that game, just like Bill said, I don't think it was that close. You look at the box score or the final score, and you're thinking like, wow, it's got to be competitive. I think this was probably at least a 14-point gap between these two teams by looking at the way they played, honestly, because TCU punched them in the mouth, and they responded every play that they had. It was either, Dugan or the way they ran the ball. I couldn't believe what I seen. Biggest upset, Cinderella story. This is March Madness to me. And it
What
happened.
what did you think of the second half? 39-30 second half. It was like they were playing on air out there, or 7-7 or something. I mean, one would score, the other score, back and forth. 39-30 in the second half.
44 points in the third quarter alone. And the score was 21-6 at halftime. And then the third quarter, a blowout, 20-24 Michigan. And it was back and forth, Bill. It's insane.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best
Cinderella stories, yeah, man. Like,
not even that, but it's just like you said, it was a heavyweight fight. Like, it was punch, counter punch. Like, TCU came out the first couple of rounds and jacked up Michigan's jaw a little bit, but Michigan fought back. They were making both of them quarterbacks were just unreal. McCarthy and Dugan. Dugan had. I thought he just as the game went on, his play elevated where McCarthy's kind of stayed the same.
Yeah,
and that to me was kind of the difference in the game.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first play of the game when Edwards came out and ran that 50-yard scamper, I think it was the first or second play. I think I called my buddy. He is a TCU fan. He had money on. I was like, here comes the route. And I tell you, that was like the only big play they really had in the first half. I was like, the route's on. I told you, Michigan is going to run all over them. It's going to be like the Penn State game. That's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And boy, was I wrong. Was I wrong.
The biggest surprise to me watching that game, because I really didn't care who won. Mm-hmm. Just watching the game and being the old coach, from days gone by, I'm thinking to myself, why, Michigan, do you continue to blitz and continue to get burned?
Goodness.
Just stayed home. Yeah.
I can't believe that, quite frankly, that the defense coordinator had a job the next day. He just he killed them. He killed them.
Yeah, I agree with 100%. I mean, you think about it, like I give TCU credit. You know what? They saw it right in their face over and over and over. Well, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep running it. And they did it, and look what happened. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Michigan should have paged Jonathan Gannon.
I'll tell you what, that Buddy Clark, the safety from TCU, like Mike said, he was everywhere, man. 3 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception. I mean, you just talk like Bill said. They went all out, and they just got the McCarthy.
Bro, his stock draft his draft stock just went way up in that game, dude.
Well, also Daniel Tomlinson's nephew, Hodge Tomlinson, he had a pretty good solid game as well. So,
and there was a sophomore. The sophomore had 5 sacks. The sophomore they had was 4 sacks. The defensive tackle.
What's that, Tom?
No, I was just saying the Quentin Johnson, the tight end. The wide out. 6 catches, 163. I'm seeing him on a lot of first-round draft boards too.
Mm-hmm. There's a comment from Maurice right there. If people think TCU is a joke, they're not football people. Certain divisions, certain conferences are overrated as well. So universities, don't sleep on Texas. Yeah, I mean, Texas, they have a good recruiting class, but I'm not sold on Sarkisian. What do you guys think real quick? We'll jump to that real quick. What do you guys think about Sarkisian with that comment about Texas?
No, I'm not buying him.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Show me something.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, listen, you got 2 of the highest recruiting quarterbacks on your team. You got Ewers coming in, already there. Yeah. And then you got Manning coming in, Archie coming in next year. So your 4-year window is already set. There's no excuses at QB. Number 1.
Oh, absolutely.
But, that's just thinking about that. But
there's no room forever.
Exactly. But just like Bill said, we'll see.
Until Arch Manning goes to Ole Miss.
Yeah. You know what? I could see something like that happen, or going to Tennessee, because, like we said earlier in weeks prior, the transfer portal, it's going to happen. Just depending on how he plays. So
Arch is going to become. He's going to become the new Sean Clifford. He's going to spend 6 years in college.
Oh, goodness. But Sean, real quick, you mentioned at school Tennessee. I want to talk about this game. Hooker goes down. He doesn't even play. Okay.
Nope. Wow.
There's a quarterback, 6'4", 245 pounds, by the name of Milton.
What an arm, dude.
Kid, I couldn't believe what I seen. I mean, he is a linebacker running the ball on RPOs, and his arm, that first throw he threw, 65 yards downfield,
Exactly.
and it was a flick of the wrist.
Didn't even break a sweat. Yeah, you're right. Me and my buddy
Insane.
Maurice were talking about that, and he's like, "Man, look at this kid's arm," just like you said, and it's going to be exciting. Does
Didn't he
Hooker
come?
leave, you
He came
think?
from Michigan, right?
I believe he did,
wasn't
yes.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe
Do you think Hooker stays, or does he go into the draft? Because I'm seeing a lot of drafts, him going to the Saints. Thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't think he's ready yet. I think the injury is going to hold him back. I mean, I'm
That's
probably
exactly what I
second or
said.
third right now. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that whole quarterback class, as it's all sorting itself out, is going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yes.
I read several things. They're talking about where C.J. Stroud
Mm-hmm.
played so well that he has raised
Overjumping.
himself to the number one pick.
Over Young,
You know, over Young. I'm not sure about all that.
I don't like either
about
one of
Bryce
them.
Young as a number one pick either. But
Exactly.
you
I
know,
agree.
Yeah,
tell you
true.
I think Bryce Young's too. I mean, he's a hell of a prospect, and but he's so frail, man. I mean, I could just see the league.
He needs some weight on him. Yeah,
I
he
could
needs
see the
some
league
meat.
kicking his ass. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man. Like you take a look at those two guys. I don't think they're the best, man. Like I mean, Spencer Rattler.
Mhm.
I think he kind of improved
South Carolina. Yeah.
I think he improved his draft stock a little bit this year too, especially that last game. He had a really good game.
Against Notre Dame, actually.
Against Notre Dame, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a really good game against Notre Dame. So I could see
he's
him.
just sophomore still, right?
Yeah, he's a sophomore.
Yes.
He can't come out
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
From
I
USC.
look at him. I mean, of course he can't come
Oklahoma,
out. He's going to have it
I'm sorry.
next year, but I think he is like a more Mahomes type player. You know, he's a scrambler. Watching him play, he's definitely going to benefit from the junior year coming out. He's definitely going to benefit from that.
Lot of negatives being said about the Heisman Trophy winner at USC.
Caleb Williams. How about that game? Like we were saying before we came on.
Mhm.
Big numbers in that game, but I don't know. There's a lot of things about him that don't seem to be going quite right in the eyes of people.
Mhm.
Whether
He
it's
likes to
painting your
showboat, that's for
fingernails,
sure.
cussing out the other team, that's not good. Then he doesn't show up for his presser. That's not good.
Mhm.
You know, they're all things that the NFL certainly looks at.
I heard. I was reading a tweet actually yesterday about someone from inside. You know, they didn't not corresponding with USC, but they said that Caleb Williams doesn't give a damn about his team. That he's an eye for an eye person. That he could care less about winning or losing. You know, winning the Heisman Trophy should make you humble. It didn't make him humble. It put him on an island of his own. And a lot of players that inside the locker room said the same thing, according to this, tweet. But yeah, I don't know.
He kind of has that demeanor, Paul, like you said, like and Bill said with the Heisman pose, like throwing crap in your face, as you would say. But
He's like Bo Callahan. Nobody went to his birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem, dude.
Now, here's a question for you, Eagles fans. Maurice White is actually an Eagles fan. I can see that now.
Yeah.
I would love to have the Tennessee quarterback as Jalen's backup. We would win those past two games if we had a quarterback with somewhat skills in Jalen. I agree with that because you're not changing the playbook. Minshew can run the ball. He can run the RPO, but he is more of a vanilla 180 than Jalen Hurts the way he runs his offense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys agree with having a backup like that? Because just like with the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, vanilla, 100% 180.
I think we don't run into the problem that we did. Unfortunately, nothing against. He played great with the Dallas game, but the Saints game, yeah. I mean, we won't run into that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And also another quarterback, real quick, Brian Robinson from Florida. He likes him as well. The similar traits of Jalen Hurts.
I think Robinson needs to stay another year. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
that's
what his
what-
eligibility is. I think he definitely needs it because he, just like Joe and I talked about, on previous shows,
Uh-huh.
he's hit or miss, man. Joe, you and I were on the Florida wagon for a little bit, remember? Then all of a sudden it was
Hey,
like, where the hell did he go?
Wait, you're talking about Anthony Richardson,
Anthony
right?
Richardson.
Yeah,
I'm
Richardson.
sorry.
Yeah.
I said
Oh,
Brian
okay.
Robinson.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I heard Brian Robinson. I'm like, who the hell is
I'm
that? I
sorry.
got you. No problem. No, what's it? The Anthony Richardson thing. I mean, to me, he's got all the talent in the world, but that kid just doesn't look ready to me. I mean, but I've seen some mock drafts that have him going like, 11, 12. Like I saw
They got
one.
him.
I mean, But it's early though. You know what I mean? You know how these mock drafts, bro, like this time of year, you could kind of wipe your ass with them because it all comes down to the combine. Once the combine comes, a lot of
They
times
got
you'll
him
see
going
guys
to the
that are-
Lions.
Really? Yeah.
So,
What?
in the
Later on? Okay.
Not in the first round.
no. I'm shockingly the 7th pick. I don't see that.
No
I don't
way.
think
Whoever
that-
whoever needs that needs a drug test right there. I'm just
Yeah,
going to say right there, you need a drug
ain't
test.
happening.
Exactly.
No. Mm.
Yeah.
No way. No way. Mm-mm. Wow. I tell you, if he was a GM for a team and he drafted him, oh my God, I don't know if you're gonna have a job the next day. Like 5 minutes after that, I think you're fired automatically. Very quick,
Right.
very quick. Goodness, wow. But I mean, was there any other games out there? I mean, there were so many standout games. What else did you guys see out there for your games?
Well, obviously the Georgia game was
Yeah, that was
incredible. The
back
Georgia
and
Ohio
forth,
State
yeah.
game, that
Yes.
was an incredible game.
No,
The Pitt UCLA game was a great
Yes.
game.
it definitely
The
was.
Notre Dame game was a good game.
Mhm.
So many close games, and that's what made it fun. You mentioned right from the opening. I think so. As far as the overall schedule, early, those first 6-6 games, all them 6-6 games, not so much.
Mhm.
But as you got down to the last handful of days,
Yes.
there weren't many bad games other than that LSU Purdue game. Probably
Mhm.
they were
Yeah.
all pretty reasonable games.
Mhm. Now, let me ask you guys with regarding that Ohio State Georgia game. It seemed to turn around a little bit to me when Harrison went down.
Mhm.
Do you think Harrison would have played that entire game? Ohio State would have actually won that game? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, certainly could have. He's a difference maker, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
He's a playmaker, definitely for sure. I mean, but injuries, like we all say, can kill a game, man, as well as penalties. But yeah,
I know when we were talking about this last week, a lot of people were thinking that Harrison wasn't going to be a factor in this game because of Georgia's defense. I thought he lit their defense up single-handedly, and really opened up the running game too for Ohio State. If you looked at it too, like Ohio State was able to run the ball, man, and I had a feeling Ohio State could do that. That's why I took them. I took them in an upset. But I mean, even with that, I mean, they lose by a point. I mean, wow, like Georgia was so much better. If you looked at this game, everybody and their mom was taking Georgia in this game. Nobody had a chance. Nobody gave Ohio State a chance. It was going to be a blowout again. And I'll tell you what, they held up their end. They may have lost the game, but they held up their end of a hard-fought, competed game where Michigan pooped the bed. You know what I mean? So I tip my cap to Ohio State, and I don't like them boys at all.
Yeah, Harrison. Well, you see it right there. Maurice puts it up there. He still had 5 catches for 106 and 2 touchdowns. So
right, exactly.
He's a difference maker every time he walks on the field.
Exactly.
Yeah,
agreed.
Ohio State's tight end was having a field day too.
Yeah,
he was hit. Stroud was hitting him, man. Like that middle was wide open. Like Georgia needs to really kind of secure that up going in, looking ahead.
Now didn't Ohio State's tight end get injured, Stover?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
Because I think he had one ball, and I think he got hit like on the back or something.
That
and he came
was
out
the
of the game.
starter, but I'm talking about the kid who came in before him.
But I know. Like with Stover though, I think he's one of the biggest tight ends out. He's like a Brock Bowers. I think Stroud had to go to a different game plan, and they utilized. They went to Harrison. I mean, Harrison is just a top-notch receiver. We know that. I think he's dropped 2 balls in the last 2 games, but during the whole regular season, no drop catchable balls. And that's something that you never see out of even an NFL prospect, even an NFL player, you don't see that, number one.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who – go ahead.
No, I was just going to say about Harrison. I found it interesting that he ended up leaving that game with a concussion because in my mind it certainly was not targeting.
No, it wasn't.
But he must have hit his head on the ground or something because he left the game and couldn't come back. But I was really surprised that that ended up going that way.
I'll tell you, Arians. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Arian Smith tore it up in the second half, man, with 3 receptions, 129 yards, and that one big TD. I believe it was for 67 yards.
52.
Kind of changed the game.
Something like
changed the game,
Or 76. I'm sorry. You're right. 76. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give George's version of Van Wilder credit, man. Bennett, he hung in there.
398 yards, 23 for 34, 398, 3 TDs, 1 pick. You can't ask for any more than that, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How about it?
That kid is just a winner. Like, he has that moxie. He's got that championship moxie. And then
he's
the other
humble.
and the thing that was really ironic about this game too is, like, you talk about a clash of New Year's parties. If you put a camera in Columbus, Ohio, first off, the kick missed right at midnight. You know what I mean? So if you had a camera in Ohio and a camera in Georgia, it's like two totally different outcomes, you know?
Exactly, yeah. I think during the group chat, I put that in there. I was like, holy crap, it's 12 o'clock midnight, and he misses the kick at 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah.
How do you feel, like, as a guy, put it as a person and a kicker, this kick here could possibly win you get in a national championship, possibly win it. It changes everything, right? Your life, number one, it's midnight, New Year coming on, you're kicking the ball. What a way to forget 2022. But you're going to remember 2022 for the rest of your damn life now.
Yeah,
in the worst way.
You can literally say the clock struck midnight on the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yes,
and they turned into a pumpkin for damn sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me throw this out there because we're talking about quarterbacks. Where does Stetson Bennett fit in? Nobody talks about him.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
As you mentioned, the kid is a winner.
He's like a Tom Brady, man. That's how I see him.
Winners don't get you drafted. Although I'm with you. Tim Tebow's a winner too. We couldn't play at the next level. I think this Stetson Bennett situation, he's not true. You guys might have a mock in front of you. I don't think he's even mentioned anywhere.
Probably third round.
He is.
I haven't seen him in any that I've been looking at, Bill.
No,
but if I do, I'll bring it to your attention. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up a name. He reminds me of Alabama quarterbacks, not like a Bryce Young, a Tua, or a Mac Jones. He reminds me of like a Greg McElroy. Someone like that who wins you games, regardless of what he has out there. But he gets drafted, but he never sees the field to me. I think he's one of those quarterbacks, like A.J. McCarron.
Yeah,
someone like that.
I just was going to say,
a winnable quarterback to manage the game. Right,
he's 5 feet 11 inches, and that's a problem, I think.
Oh, wow.
Is that what he is? 5'11"?
5'11".
Wow, I thought he was a lot taller than that, actually. Wow.
5'11", 190, and that's why you're not going to see him on a draft board, I wouldn't think.
And you know what? That goes to what you said, Tom. We're all fans here. We all see Kenny Pickett light it up at Pittsburgh. His downfall. I mean, how many people did you hear? Disregard his ball. His hands.
Yeah.
That dropped you that far because your hand size. Like, come on. Like, it goes like what Joe Solomon was saying to the draft. Oh, his high jump is only this vertical. His long jump is only this. His shuttle time is this. He has to wear a glove because his hands are miniature size. I don't care about all that,
Now, since he's small, do you see him being transitioned to like an Antoine Randall L?
Not the way he runs, no.
Hey, just to touch up on Stetson Bennett, I'm reading a draft projection here. It says late
New England Patriots.
No, it says late day 3 pick at best, probably in the free agent portal.
Oh, so I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
You know what I see Stetson Bennett being? I see him maybe he catches on as like a third string quarterback somewhere, and he's like a future coach. He's like one of those guys like how like a Kingsbury and these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Stetson Bennett obviously knows the game, so maybe he gets in a program and he studies behind somebody and he becomes a future
like
coach.
a Colt McCoy too. Yeah.
How about that too? You could have 2 national championships and not be drafted.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
Very good point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are we putting him in the category of Tim Tebow here?
Well, I think he throws a whole lot better than Tim Tebow. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that point. Yes, but you go
not a high bar.
Yeah, Heisman Trophy winner back to back. 2 championships down there in Florida, and then you get to the NFL
and you don't do a lick.
Well, you don't do very much. You're a clipboard holder for the rest of your life.
I don't think he'll be a clipboard holder. I draw a comparison with him. I'm looking at him like maybe a Mark Brunell. Something similar to that, because Brunell started. Yeah, well, I mean,
Tom said, that height kills him. That's a shame.
But you know what?
It's tough at the pro level. It's tough.
Well, Brunell was he was 5'11", so I mean, and he was left-handed, but he started out as a third string quarterback. He was behind Brett Favre and Doug Peterson. So he was holding a clipboard for a few years. So I could see that being the way, like Joe said, with Stetson Bennett. But I think he's got a little more upside than just being a holder. I think he can be somebody to where, like, if he goes, out of nowhere, like Brunell came out of nowhere.
He'll be serviceable. I totally agree. Somewhere.
I mean that's true. To your point, Mike. I mean Brunell was only like 6'1". I mean that's not that much taller than 5'11". You know what I mean? It's either way it is tough at that size though to make it in this level.
It took a while for him to get there, but Doug Flutie got there. He had to go to Canada. He had to do some other things and all that. But, at the end of the day, Doug Flutie was a winner too. And he finally got his day in the sun.
Real quick, let me ask you guys this. We all watch pros as well, but can you name a quarterback under 6'1" that's actually legit right now? It's hard.
I mean,
it's really hard.
I can name one that got paid a lot of money, Kyler Murray,
and he plays video games.
That's
Kyler
my.
Murray.
He got paid a lot of money. You know what I mean?
He's playing Call of Duty right now.
I could probably, hey Paul, I could probably name you some that are over 6'1" and aren't very good.
Oh, of course. But I like how you said Kyler Murray because that's what I was saying. Coming out of Oklahoma, it was QB University going back, Mayfield, whatever, a bust. But looking at Murray, and he even had Hurts there the year before. But you look at Murray, all the potential in the world, strong arm, mobile, fast. But being under 6'1", you got to get him out of the pocket to throw the ball.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's something. I mean, it's becoming a quarterback league where you got to be 6'2", at least 6'2" to 6'5". I mean, you're looking at quarterbacks now 6'5", 6'6". Hell, look at Manning. He overseen every lineman in the NFL. He was so tall, and that's like what's the guy with the big neck, Glennon. He was 6'9". Yeah,
Well, do you remember? I mean, in particularly as Eagles fans, like Mike Vick wasn't tall. I mean, if you remember when Andy Reid did a great job coaching, he used to have Vick drop really far back in the pocket because he had to get the sight lines. You know what I'm saying? Because Vick was only Vick was only about like 6 foot or whatever.
Yeah,
you know
6
foot.
He wasn't, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So so you stop and think about it. You got to change your offense a lot of times for a quarterback that's undersized because he can't see over the line.
Agree. I mean, I think it's more of a schematic scheme where you put your quarterback in a position to win. I mean, you talk about Vic. A lot of his drops were 5-step, 7 foot, step drops in the back.
Yeah,
so
they had to.
They had to be, and then he was off to the races. Yeah,
exactly.
A lot of
them wasn't 3-step drops because you couldn't get that ball over the top of your lineman. You put your quarterback in a position to win.
You have to keep in mind that Vic was a freak.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Right.
He was just a freak.
Yes.
Just a track star in a football guy's body, man. Just
quick. My buddy used to say he was quicker than a hiccup.
That's right.
Maurice brings up a great point here. He was drafted by the Oakland A's, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
First round draft pick, the Kyler Murray, from the Oakland A's, who chose football, over that. I mean, guaranteed money versus, I do give him credit because it's guaranteed money in baseball, versus football. He did choose football. I give him credit for that. But Kyler, you might have made the wrong decision. You might have went to the baseball. You can play all the Call of Duty you want to, brother.
Know what he should have did? He should have did a Charlie Ward.
Florida State,
basketball.
Yeah, maybe there's a whole different scenario though if you can't hit a curveball.
Yeah. Very true.
That is true. You could be the greatest athlete in the world, but if you can't hit that curveball, it don't gonna mean nothing.
Dude, all I'm gonna say is this: they're probably the greatest basketball player in the world. Tried to become a baseball player and couldn't make it past AA.
That's right.
Ooh, what's that guy's name again? What's his name?
Will Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain. You're right. Yeah.
I didn't know he tried to play baseball.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But
could you imagine a strike zone for Will Chamberlain?
Oh my God.
Hey, I wanted to throw a name at you guys. See what you thought about this one because I know you watched them. Brendan Rice.
Jerry's son,
he had a breakout game, 174 yards, a couple touchdowns. He only had 600 yards on the season.
Yes,
he gets 174
on
a
big
touchdown.
day.
Big day.
Wow.
But let me ask you guys this: you guys think it's just a show of the stage where you're on national prime time here, so you're going to give it all out? Just one game of the season to take up your draft prospect. You guys see it that way? Because I see a lot of people on Twitter saying like, Oh, of course he's going to play great. This is his payday right here. But
No, I
one
don't
game
see
and you get
it.
paid. I don't see it either. I don't see it either. No.
No.
Yeah,
Every
I
game's on
wouldn't think
TV. Every day, every
Mhm.
game's
Yeah.
a big stage. You know,
Yeah.
I don't buy that even a little bit.
Agree.
yeah.
Agree with that.
If this
Seems
was
odd.
if this was 30 years ago and only Notre Dame's games were on every week on TV,
Right,
it's a
right.
different story. But you could pretty much watch every single college football game every week if you want.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
things have changed.
Now,
I mean,
let me
I
ask,
look at it and I see like at least 84 games on a Saturday afternoon. I'm
Mhm.
sitting there going down the thing like, what four do I want to watch? You know, what four do
Yeah.
I pick out of these 84 games?
now let me ask you
True.
a question. Let me ask you a question. Did you guys have an issue with ESPN covering the Rose Bowl this year instead of it being on ABC? Because I did. I didn't feel
I
like
mean,
that game, like the rest of the week was on ESPN. They carried every bowl game, damn near. Like, you mean to tell me you couldn't leave the Rose Bowl on ABC?
Money.
A lot of people were like, for example, like how you are, my buddy was, just like certain
Yeah.
games that they should have put on ABC.
Dude, they didn't
some
put no
people don't
games.
have. Yeah,
They didn't. There was hardly any games on
No.
regular national television, with the
True.
exception
Yeah.
of CBS.
That is
CBS
true.
carried a couple of them. Like,
Mhm.
dude, like, I'm sorry, but a lot of us are getting into the point now where we're streaming stuff, and if you're not paying for Disney Plus, which we get you ESPN Plus, where you can watch these games, like, there was no games over at regular antenna, and it really kind of scratched my head. Like, wow, like, we're really that far removed that you're taking these games off of TV.
Paul
But
got
yet-
it right. Paul got it right.
Money.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I just was gonna say, money makes work. Yeah, look at the NFL with the ticket now. Yeah,
Dude, that's going to be nuts. YouTube TV for the ticket next year.
See, I can see exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying, Mike. Like, I get every game, so I'm not in that, predicament where I don't care if it's ESPN, ESPN2, whatever. I get every channel in the world, so I don't have that problem. But I understand what you're saying. Like, man, if you have to buy this channel to get this game, what if ESPN becomes a paid channel? Like that. But it's all
Well, it
comes down
is.
to
I
money.
mean, well, it is now. I mean, you have to order it with Disney Plus.
Oh, I didn't
you
even
know,
know that. See, I don't. I
Yeah,
don't have
it's
that
a part
problem.
of Disney Plus. So whatever your Disney Plus prescription is,
Mm.
that's how you get ESPN now, and then you get
Holy
their
crap.
games. If you
You
don't
can
have
get it.
games-
You can get it on YouTube TV. I get it on YouTube TV.
Okay.
Mike.
Again,
It's
but
that. But you're buying. You're buying the whole.
yeah, but it's the
YouTube
same thing.
TV.
Ain't no different than Sling or
Right.
what's the other one? That I
Tubi?
had.
Do I know what
Yeah.
it is?
Hulu, all
Hulu.
that shit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Fubu TV's got the same thing as like YouTube TV. Either which way, you're paying a subscription every month.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, and it to me, like, that's asinine. Like, you used to have games on Saturday. They do it during the season. They have games on ABC. They have games on CBS. But the bowl games, you're not going to put at least one of them on there. Like, to me, that was asinine, and especially the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl's been on ABC every year for God knows how long.
Well, I'm old school. I'm looking at Saturday night. I'm waiting for a Pac-12 game being on Fox late night. That 9:00 game there. I'm looking for ABC to host the 8:00 game.
Right.
That's the way I
Yeah.
want it. Every
Yeah,
year,
and it's
every
just-
week you see that.
Yeah, and you do see it during the regular season, but bowl season comes up, which is supposed
it's
to be the
forgotten.
best. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like, dude, I'm sorry, but if you want to, I could see them if they put like some of the lesser bowl games, like Bill said, the 6-6 games. If they want to have that throughout the week, like if you're playing on a Tuesday night between Christmas and New Year's, nobody's going to care about those 2 6-6 teams. That's just going to be
Agreed.
window dressing for whatever it is you're doing.
Mhm.
But then you get down to the meat and potatoes part of the game. Like, I'm sorry, like the national championship game, like that, like those two playoff games both being on ESPN, dude, that's hogwash. They should have been on ABC, and the Rose Bowl should have been on ABC.
Well, like I said, it comes down to money. This is why I always
Money
say,
makes the world go round.
you ever think then this? Now you wonder why Notre Dame will never become a conference team, independent.
Right.
They have their own network.
Yeah,
Billions and
Yeah.
billions of
exactly.
dollars. They're never going to change that. Why? Hey, it's all about the money. It's all about the
Yeah.
money.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
University of Texas also has their own. They have
Oh, yeah.
their own channel
Mhm.
too.
I'm a lot. I'm unfortunately I'm a bit older than you guys,
Not much, Bill. Not
Not
much.
me.
but well, Tom, maybe you remember this when we were young in Philly. when they came out with Prism
Yes.
Sports,
Mhm.
and all of a
Yes.
sudden all the sports
Yeah.
were on Prism, and you
I
had to
remember
buy
that the
cable.
Spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to buy cable sports, and then they
Yes.
didn't put the Prism in the basic package, so you had to buy the upgraded package
Sure.
in order to
Yeah.
get
It's funny you
The
say that, you know.
bundle
It's
package.
funny you
Yeah.
say
Right.
that. When we moved to Philly and they had Prism, because I was like, what the hell was Prism?
Huh.
Because they had that rainbow logo, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's-
And I
it's-
remember seeing that. I was like, Dad, I want to watch this or that. I want to watch the Sixers. And he was like, we can't get it, Paul. And I was like, what do you mean? You have to buy this package, this astronomical package you had to buy. So I remember my dad went out and he got this, I don't know, a hot box basically. And I
I had
remember
one of
getting
them,
it.
Johns. Were
You know,
great.
yeah, I remember it was
Okay.
like channel 25 Prism. I'm like, oh, thank God. You know, like,
Yep.
wow.
Prism,
Man.
God.
So,
Oh,
so to your point, Mike, this has been going on a long time, and it's not going
Oh
to get
yeah,
better.
I
It's
know,
gonna-
but I just figured, just I had to comment on it because to me, the Rose Bowl is either New Year's Day at 5:00 or the day
Yes.
after New Year's Day,
Yes.
5:00, ABC.
tradition. Yeah.
It's a tradition,
Absolutely.
man. And
You know-
I'm sorry, like I understand if they want to capitalize on the 2 playoff games, that's fine. But that national championship game should be on regular TV,
I agree with
Agree.
them.
and
You know,
it's not, and they're not going to do it. And I think that sucks.
You know, the funny thing is, Mike, most of you guys know this. I got married in 1994 on January 1st. And the joke was all year round. They asked me why on January 1st. I was like, number one, I was probably drunk. Number one, to get married. But number two, I'll never forget January 1st, my anniversary in college football, the Rose Bowl.
There you go.
You know, the New Year's Six games. I will never forget it. That's why I got married on January 1st. But exactly to your point, January 2nd, why? You know, and it's even the channels are so weird now. It's just,
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember being so pumped up, especially Paul, we're around the same age. Joe, you're around the same age as me, and Sean. We're all around the same age.
wait, you guys are 50s?
No, I'm in my mid 40s, and
Oh,
Joe's
well,
in his
damn,
early
yeah,
40s.
I'm over the hill. I'm over the hill, guys.
46 over here.
And Sean, all right, so
I'm not saying.
me and Killer are the same age, but dude, I remember the Orange Bowl being on 8:00 New
Yes.
Year's Eve. Like I remember New Year's Day. That was like it was always cool because you were like, yeah, you got to watch it, and then when it was over, you were like, shit, I got to go to school tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Mike, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, if you remember, the Orange Bowl was on NBC, and
NBC.
and I believe I forget, the Sugar Bowl was either ABC or
ABC.
CBS. ABC, right?
ABC.
Yeah,
ABC.
there you go. So there was one year I think Notre Dame was playing the Sugar Bowl, and it was my University of Miami was playing the Orange Bowl or something like that. And it was so cool. You were like flipping back and forth. You know what I mean? It was great.
And then they would alternate. Sometimes they would move the Sugar Bowl early, and then they would have the Fiesta Bowl. So you would have you'd have the Fiesta and the Orange Bowl going on at the same time. And you're like you said, man, remotes came in handy, dude, because you were going back and forth. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're lucky back in the day, Mike. You know, as old as we are, we had to go to the channel and actually turn the knob, brother.
You're like a whole 5 years older than me, dude. Stop.
Hey, those 5
Like,
years
I can
go. Those
understand.
5 years go serious, Mike. Don't judge the 5 years, man.
Yeah, Bill and Tom, they may have had to throw a shoe at a kid. Like that was their remote. Like
That's it. The pliers.
Black and
multiple
white.
black and white TVs with
That's right.
The big knobs.
circle thing, you know.
When
you
the
had
knob broke, you had the pliers. You had
Yeah,
The good
I
old
have one of
the good
those
old tube
TVs.
TVs. The good old tube TVs.
I
you know?
have
That's
one
right.
of those TVs in my storage, no bull, with the
Oh
big
my
old.
God.
Aluminum
Yeah.
foil on the
Oh,
antenna.
Goodness.
My grandfather used to have an antenna on the roof, and he would tell my
Yep.
uncles to like turn the
Turn it to the side.
They-
left
they-
Turn
side.
it to head to New York.
You remember the old inside?
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, my dad one time, he was also old school, rest his soul. We were losing our frequency one time, and my dad had one of those antennas. He made me go into the kitchen to get aluminum foil. Okay, wrap it on that son of a bitch, and like I used to hold it like this, and I'm like, Dad, can I see the game? He's like, No, stay right there. It's perfect. And I was like, No, back. I'm like, Dad, what's going on? Stay right there.
Up, down. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But,
But
ahead.
speaking about like college football from yesterday, like I would say mid '80s on up, mid '80s to like the mid '90s. I just remember watching, like you could just watch football, like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, just a ton of football. You would, when you're a teenager, you got up from your hangover from drinking the night before, and you started watching football at 12 noon. and it just went all the way to 10, 11 o'clock at night. So you were just like, and it'd be all these different bowl games. You just don't get that feel anymore for it. You know, you have your 2 playoff games. I think it'll get better now because they're going to add more teams to the playoff.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So now there'll be, you know, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl may be a friggin' playoff game.
Right, exactly.
Whoever puts out the most money will get that, you know, that
money talks.
No, we should all chip in next year and get an out-of-the-box bowl.
Well, you know what? Hey, listen, I got about $1,000 I can donate. I think we need about $4 million just to get a commercial on that show. You know, like
if anybody's out there, GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe. That's right, John. Remind me, we're going to start a GoFundMe page because we want.
We are trying to get an out-of-the-box bowl.
Oh my God! Watch me get like a team from like a first time ever a 1 in 10 team getting the bowl. They'll give that.
Valdosta State versus.
Oh goodness! I got a question right now. Here's a question here. I already know the answer from you guys. Here we talk about Stetson Bennett real quick. One of our loyal viewers asked this question. Do you think the Eagles draft Bennett in the 2nd round?
No, he's not a 2nd round draft pick.
I agree.
Unfortunately, he's not.
No.
Real quick, yes, the Sixers are winning 101-90 right now. Maurice says the Sixers are on a roll. Keep it up. Consistent throughout. Take this win.
Trade Embiid.
Oh, here we go. Don't get Mike started on that. Don't get Mike started on that tonight. But real quick, before we have a couple more bowl games and we'll get into our draft. I want to get in the draft board if we're projected. But we talked about this. What about – let's go around the room. Sean, I'll go with you. What about the players choosing not to play? Now, I give credit everybody in TCU, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan. They all played. Every one of them played. Even Alabama, everybody played. I give certain players credit. But what do you say? But what do you think about this?
I think you should honor your school, you know, and play for not only yourself, for your teammates. If you really love the game that much, do it. I would. I wouldn't sit. I love the game too much. I'm playing. I want to showcase myself more than it. You know, I just do it.
Okay. What do you think, Bill?
I think they should play. I get the injury thing. That's obviously huge, but I think they should play. And I tell you, and I'm not picking on Notre Dame here. It's just that I happen. I just happened to see it in the Notre Dame game and thought about it. Where they interviewed on the sideline their best offensive player and their best defensive player in street clothes. You're not coming with my team when you bailed on my team.
Was that Michael Mayer, the tight end?
Yeah, tight end and the
Forsky. Isaiah Forsky.
Yeah,
the end. Top 10 pick.
And they weren't the only ones. Other teams had their players there. Not trying to jump the line, but I don't have as much a problem with it as I probably should have, being an ex-player, and you know, you could never stop me from playing, and you know, I loved it. If you want to be a pro, go ahead and be a pro, but you're not on the sideline. So
right?
Yeah,
you're not getting on my team playing. That's for sure.
You don't want to go. Okay, you're done. See you. Bye. Good luck in the NFL, and I'll take the next guy. There's a benefit to some of the guys that didn't get to play. Yeah, look at it a couple different ways, but definitely. Bill and Sean, no way you're on the sideline if you don't want to play.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
I'm doing a little devil's advocate there because they don't get to the bowl games without those guys playing. So just because they're looking at it for their future, that's what the NCAA put in to allow these guys to do that. And I know, like, I'm sorry, I don't buy into the whole you got to do it for your school or whatever. Dude, that school's made enough money off of that young man's blood, sweat, and tears over the past 3 seasons. So I'm not hearing that. If that kid's got a chance, you don't know that person's background, where they're coming from. And if they got a chance to come from a bad background to go out and do something major with their life and get their family out of a certain situation, you can't knock them for doing that. That's why the NCAA put that in there. You know what I mean? So if they don't want to play that bowl game for fear of they might get an injury because in 2 months they got to go do, you know, the combine, you can't be mad at them for doing that. These kids are looking at their future. I have a problem with underclassmen doing that. If they're seniors, they have a right to sit that game out because they've done the battles. Underclassmen, no. Juniors and sophomores, no. Get your butt on the field, go play, or go home. That I will agree with you with underclassmen. But seniors, no. They put their time in. They deserve that, whether they want to do it or not. And that's just my take on that.
All right. What do you think, John?
Well, I'm with the guys as far as maybe not on the sidelines, but it's really ironic how we looked at the Notre Dame as the example, because the guy I think of as the example of why you should sit out is Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith, the linebacker from Notre Dame. I mean, he would have been a top 10 draft pick. He hurts himself in the bowl game.
Yeah.
He goes in the second round. How much money did that kid cost himself? You know what I'm saying?
It was against Ohio State.
So, yeah. So the bottom line is, I feel like, if you have a chance, if you're going to be going in the draft and you're a first round pick, and it's not now, if it's a college playoff game, like the guys from TCU, Ohio State, I'd have a problem with them not playing because it's a playoff game.
Oh, absolutely.
But just a regular bowl game, I mean, they're just for boosters and recruiting anyway. I'd have no problem with those guys sitting out.
Yeah, you guys know where I stand. I think number one, you honored your commitment to the university that gave you the shot to play college football, to make it to the next level. But then again, I look at it, I think it's more of the player themselves. You look at Bryce Young, possibly projected 1-2 in the NFL draft. Even before he threw a ball, $2.1 million, for the program, the likability program, $2 million before he even threw a ball at college. What'd he do? He didn't have a shot at the national championship. Him played. Brian Robinson played, the linebacker,
Will Anderson.
Will Anderson.
They both played because after the interview, they said, I have a commitment here. I need to finish what I started. We can't get into the championship, but I got to finish what I started for my team and the University of Alabama. That is something I respect. I think it comes down to the player themselves as well. But the thing is, I agree with Mike. If you're a junior and senior, the only way I see it, if you don't play, you don't make the trip, number one. You're not even taking the bus trip, number one. I agree with that. The only way I can see it is if you're transfer portal or you're already declared for the draft. That's the only other way I can see it, honestly.
I don't buy the whole thing. It's their right to not play. They could get hurt just as well in week 12 as they do in the bowl game in week 13. They're already, they already knew they weren't winning their conference title, whichever team we want to talk about, don't matter. You just say, well, okay, well, I'm not going to play week 12 now.
Right.
Because I could get hurt. Where do you draw the line? All of a sudden your team is 2-4 and you say we have no chance. So guess what? I'm done.
Well, I mean, that to be funny, you kind of see that sometimes now anyway, with a team that doesn't have a good year going right, all of a sudden, like you'll see something like a guy come up with a phantom injury. Like watching some of sports documentaries that I've seen about college football, it's a lot more common than you think, where like these guys get lower body injuries that don't have lower body injuries. They're just like, hey, look, man, I'm going to get ready for the draft. Put me out with a lower body injury. And that's what they do. Like when their season has gone awry. You know what I mean? And it happens a lot more than you think, especially in college football.
Perfect examples, the quarterback from Louisville we talked about.
Yeah.
Him.
That was backup looked better than he did.
Yeah.
Well, Nick Bosa got hurt first game and decided, I'm not rehabbing, I'm going to the draft. He could have come back that year play, but he decided.
I was about to bring him up.
True.
Bring him up. So
good point.
But he didn't make any bones about it. He just said, "This is what I'm doing." And
see ya. It was nice knowing you.
What was the linebacker? the linebacker kid a couple years ago from Wisconsin. He did the same thing, and they were playing. They were playing for who I'm talking about, right, Sean?
Oh,
yes.
Willits or something like that, or Wilbers, or I forget the kid's name. He was a Buckus finalist. All right, got hurt. He could have been back in time for the Big Ten championship game. And he just told Wisconsin, he's like, nope, getting ready for the NFL draft. You know what I mean? And they were actually playing for a conference title. Like they were playing for a chance, they could have moved up and been like, a top 4 selection. Yep. And he just.
Now, real quick, we do have a comment real quick from Maurice White again. He talks about primetime Sanders at Colorado. But before we get into real quick, we'll touch. I know we already talked about it before on a previous show, but what is the coach from TCU? Sonny? I don't know his last name. Sonny Dykes. Okay. Now, speaking of the transfer portal, he built this team through the transfer portal. 18 transfer portal players, 8 starters, offense and defense. Is this becoming the new way? Bill, everybody, we talked about this before. You're taking away from high school athletes, 5-star recruits, We're taking away from them because we're putting them aside and looking at the transfer portal first. Who's available in the transfer portal? Oh, we can't get him Hartman. We want him. Now we have to go to Florida and get the kid from IMG. Are we looking at transfer portal first as a new way to build the TCU program for the future?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the new way.
Pretty obvious.
To build a powerhouse, exactly.
But the big backlash will be from that is when those 4 and 5 star recruits are going to be like, you know what? I'm not waiting on TCU. They want to go to the porthole and go get this senior to come play here. I can go play 4 years over here where I know I'm going to play.
Here's my question. I know we all watch college basketball. Here's my question. Will we ever see what Mike just said here? Okay, we're the top 6 recruits in the nation. We're on the transfer portal. Bam, we're all going to Colorado. We're on a different position. We're going there. Well, the next best player, the 5-star recruit out there says, you know what? Screw this. We're all going to Michigan and becoming the Fab Five. Do we see players that unite? You know, in basketball, we see the big 3. We see this and that. Do we ever see that in college football?
No.
I don't see it, Mike, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
It's a good thing to put out there, but I don't think those kids are kind of in contact with one another like that to sit there and go, hey, man, where are you going? And where are you going? Hey, why don't we all link up and go here? I think we can put it. They're too young to think like that. Like their first thing that they're thinking about doing is getting a ride so they can shine because they want to go to that next step.
They want to get to the league and get paid.
I agree. I mean, college players, you have 70 players on the field. Hell,
I think the only time they talk to each other is at Under Armour, which I watched a little bit of, the All-Star game. Maybe that's, you know what I mean?
And that's
other than that.
Yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to say that, because I did watch that entire game because I had a little, you know, a good player watching. I watched, you know, Josiah Trotter playing that game. He didn't look great.
West Virginia.
Yeah, and there was another player going to West Virginia, and when he did that, he was like, "I'm going to play with my boy Josiah." You know, and I was like, okay, that got me thinking, like, okay, is there a camaraderie between, you know, a PA player and a California player? You know, are they talking in some kind of way? What do you think? Because I know Florida, everybody's pretty much eyes on every player, right, Bill?
Yeah, but I think they all get to become friends at some point. Social media probably helps that a lot, or maybe they met on their recruiting visit.
Yeah,
and they
football camps.
Yeah, you know. So I think there's some of that, but I don't think it's a major thing. I think these guys are going in these transfer portals and they're looking out for what's best for me.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And I want to get paid. I want to play and I want to get paid, and whatever works out best. And you're seeing, you know, you mentioned the one team, you know, 15, 17, 18 players. There's probably half a dozen or more teams that have that many guys in the portal or coming in through the portal to their program.
Now getting back to Trotter's kid, like he was really close to committing to Penn State. I would be real funny to want to find out what happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, he probably got a better deal.
Well, you're talking about Josiah, right? Josiah Trotter.
Josiah, yeah.
Mike, in 2 weeks, he visited Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan, West Virginia. In 2 weeks, Mike, I got so happy when I seen that tweet of him, Notre Dame, number 40. I'm like, like, Joe, I think I put it on there. You remember seeing that? I'm like, we got him. He was like, I'm not committed, but I love this. I love the campus. I love this where I'm at. I'm thinking like, okay, great. Next week I see him in a Penn State uniform. I'm like, what the hell was going on?
Yeah, you know? I mean, I heard he was close to going to Penn State. I heard
he was. He came down to West Virginia and Penn State is what they said, because he wanted to stay in-house in PA.
Stay close. Yeah, he wanted to stay close. So, I mean, Morgantown from where we're at is about roughly 7.5 hours. So, I mean, it's basically the same distance from Philly to Morgantown as it is from Philly to State College.
And I think he's the better linebacker between him and Jeremiah Trotter, honestly. I really do.
Yeah, Jeremiah's having a little bit of trouble down there in Clemson.
Josiah is significantly bigger. I reffed him at St. Joe last year. Jeremiah was much quicker from what I recall. Josiah, he'll grow up a little bit. He was a little bit of a whiner, did in high school. But he's much bigger, and I think his upside definitely has more upside than Jeremiah.
Oh, you coaching the PIAA, Tom?
I ref in PIAA,
I'm sorry, ref,
so
yeah.
I ref a lot of those guys.
Okay. I used to ref in PIAA also. I couldn't do Catholic. I couldn't do Catholic games because my son went to judge 1 year and then went to prep 3 years.
That rule is no longer there, Paul. Because
really, they wouldn't let me do it. They would only let me do public, and I couldn't do
Ryan
Washington
games, and I
couldn't do Washington, Lincoln, anything like that because it was a jurisdiction of my area. I had to actually go to Bucks County to ref games.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, we're short people, so.
Well, I'm in Johnstown. I'm 4 hours away. I can't do that anymore.
Okay. Love to have you back.
I would love to do it. You know what? I tell you, like, remember how now, real quick, I know we're getting off subject here, but Tom, I want to hear your opinion about this. Now, I ref PIAA, and being a side judge, you know, you watch your line of scrimmage movement, and that's all you really fundamentally watch. Have you ever been caught, you know, watching a line of scrimmage, and you take your eyes off the line and you look at that pass downfield? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
So you're guilty of it as well, right?
Yeah, and what you have to learn, to your point, Paul, you got to focus on your. I'm normally an umpire, but this year in the States, I worked I was a head linesman, and it was I really had to try to just not watch the game. Okay, you just got to really focus on what you're doing. But you do. The
reason why I said I actually had one of the coaches come and threaten to kill me because I missed a blatant holding because I watched the pass downfield. You know,
haven't had my life threatened yet, but I've gotten many an earful. I can tell you that.
I hear you. Because we always talk about the NFL refs. Of course, you know, in the NFL, you do know what you're doing. Of course, you're at that level. You've been there years and do the standards of rankings. But refs do miss calls, and from any level, we already know that. You know, regardless of what level you play at, what level you ref at. So yeah.
Well, luckily they don't review mine, so I just go with it and then call it a day.
Yeah, I think I would have been fired. I think I would have been fired my first game if there was a review system out there. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Careful what you wish for.
Hey, Paul, can I throw a quick topic out there for you guys?
Hey, you have the floor, Bill. Go right ahead.
All right. I didn't know this till the other day that to get into the College Football Hall of Fame as a coach, you have to win 60% of your games.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Mike Leach.
Mike Leach is right under that bar. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that.
Mike Leach is like 59.4 or 59.6. But if you give him the win in the bowl game for his team that he makes the
60% mark.
He finishes exactly 60%.
Wow.
You know what?
I think they do that.
Wow.
I think that'll happen.
Number one, he wasn't fired. Okay. Number two, he wasn't let go. He wasn't, abandoned by, any kind of illegal whatever proposition out there. Give him the win. Get his ass into there right away.
Yeah, I agree.
Very simple. Yeah. Very simple.
Hey, just real quick, and I appreciate you guys letting me come on. How about the reception for Mike Leach? Like, I thought I loved the guy. As soon as he locked Craig James's kid in the shed without, I loved the guy from that moment on because I know the kid deserved it. And locking him in the shed. Mike, you might not want to do that, but he could coach. And the outpouring of affection for this guy, I've not seen for a week. They all talked about him in glowing terms, and he was the kind of guy he didn't want to talk about football, and he was quite an interesting guy. I don't know whatever you guys thought of him, but I kind of really liked this guy, and was very bummed. He's my age exactly. Basically, we're both 61 years old, and this happens. I was like, man, he was a character that'll be missed. I thought, just throwing that out there. I mean, I love the guy for years.
I thought that was pretty cool that his team honored him the way they did by lining up in his signature formation. That was really cool, man. And
I think they were going down to the last play of the game too, how they won that.
How about that? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I almost shed a tear. Like, wow, Mike Leach actually. He came down there something, and this last play of the game, they won the game to go up. The points, and I was like, Mike Leach just make this happen. No matter what people say, he made this happen. What better way? But man,
he helped a lot of guys along the way too, Paul. Like I didn't realize Lincoln Riley. What was the story? He told him, you're not going to be able to play, but I'd love you to come and coach. And I guess that worked out, right?
Yeah. Gardner Minshew.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I call him the innovator of the air raid. That's where it all began. You look at Steve Spurrier. Okay, Steve Spurrier is 2.0. Mike Leach was the curator, the innovator of all the air raids. I remember an article where they looked at his play sheet, and he's like, I only have 5 plays on my play sheet. That's all we run here. That's all we need. This is the air raid. And I'm like, wow, you kidding me? Coach and I have like 80 plays here, and none of them make sense to what he had on 5. But yeah, he's an innovator. Prayers
Hey
to
guys,
him.
I got to cut out a little early, but I definitely wanted to thank you guys for having me on. I got my, as you can see, I'm ready. I got my college football hat on. I'm ready to go.
Love the hat, Mike. Love
for
the
Monday.
hat.
Well,
Hey,
real quick,
Mike.
Mike, before you go, we'll give final predictions later, but what is your prediction? Are you still, because I know you said Big Ten all the way. You're 50% there, so.
No,
You're
no.
0, Mike. Where are we going now? Are we bleeding the Horned Frogs? Where are we going?
Cindrella, baby. Let's go, Horned Frogs.
What's the score, Mike, real quick? What's the score?
I'll say 34-31. Last second field goal. Horned Frogs shock the world.
They're getting what, 12, 13,
Yes.
14?
13 points right now.
Over under 62 and a half.
13.
Take the
I got
over.
13.
Take the over. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Paul, I'll wrap with you. I'll see you all tomorrow.
All right, bro. I'll see you
Hey,
tomorrow.
Mike.
See you, Mike.
Hey, Mike, we are Penn State.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, Bill, get on these Golden Domers about that, too. They all won against our Nittany Lions last week.
Yeah.
Good night, James Franklin. Good night.
Mike,
Good night,
James,
Brian.
James is calling you. Go get the phone and call James, okay? Talk to him about next year.
Good night, Brian Kelly lovers.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there with me. All right, but guys, real quick, you guys want to talk about this NFL draft next year? How about we just do? Where are the Eagles sitting at right now? Where are they at? 10.
10.
All right. How about we talk about 10 going down? How about we talk about right there? Let's start.
Okay.
With the how about we start with the number 1 pick, which right now is going to be the Houston Texans. Where do they go? What do they take?
I mean, it's so early. I mean, right now you'd say Bryce Young, but don't you think it comes? I mean, it's going to come down to the combine. I mean, I think Stroud really upped his, like you said, he really upped his status after the other night.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So you think the Texans will take Stroud? Is that where you're going, bro?
No. No, I'll say Bryce Young for right now, but
Okay.
I guess what I'm saying is it's, you know,
It's a toss-up
things are
between them
going to
two,
change
yeah.
drastically.
Mhm.
Things are going to change drastically from now until April. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Tom, what do you think the Texans do?
I agree with Joe. I'm not sold on Bryce Young, but I think they feel like, well, we got to get a quarterback, and I know the NFL is obsessed with quarterbacks. They'll probably take Bryce Young. He could work out, but he's also 6 feet, so another kind of concern there. But I mean, he's the finished product, and it kind of looks that way.
Bill, what do you think?
They're going quarterback. I just don't know which one it's going to be.
I agree.
think it's obvious they're going to take one. Just not sure where it's going to go.
I agree. Sean, what do you got?
I'm right there with Tom and Joe. I think it's going to be Bryce Young, but he just
Bryce
needs
Young.
to put on some weight.
My exact words were probably exactly what Bill Furman said. I think it's a toss-up between Young right now and Stroud. But if it's me, I'd probably lean towards Stroud a little bit. I probably would go there because he's a little bit more not a physical runner, but he's more of a runner. And we're starting to see that league fluctuate to the running quarterback. Bryce Young can run, but he's more to me of a pocket quarterback where he's looking to throw. If it breaks down, he'll do it, but he's avoiding the run no matter what. So I'm going to lean towards Stroud with them. I think it's going to be Stroud, but right now it's a toss-up 50-50. Definitely is. Now, how about we move on to the Chicago Bears here? What do you guys think they need? Now, they're projected Jalen Carter, defensive lineman out of Georgia.
They need a lot. I could see them trading that pick.
Think they stockpile picks?
Because we had a guy on our podcast. He said, with so much money and draft capital, they'll probably move back. So I see maybe a trade, or even like you said, either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's
now
what
let me propose a little.
say.
Let me play something in here. Let me play the Chicago Bears GM here. Does Howie Roseman call me for that second pick? Since you guys got a stockpile of picks, does he call me and say, "Hey, I'd like to move up to 2"? Is that a possibility at 2?
I think he does the number 10 pick and does that before.
Okay.
No, I think it's more, honestly, the Eagles have a number of free agents and a lot of needs. I think it's more likely Howie moves down than moves up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I've seen somewhere where somebody said they want Will Anderson so bad. He's projected 2 or 3, depending on draft boards of needs, that the Eagles want him so bad. But your linebackers are pretty damn good right now. I mean, you got a future set of linebackers. We haven't even seen Nakobe Dean really play this year. We know what he can do. So I think you're set. And I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it happens, but I just want to ask you, being Eagles fans, where you can see the Eagles, moving up to with that extra draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him moving up
because that 10th pick is not solidified right now. The way the Saints are playing, it could be further down.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on to number 3. Where do you guys think the Seattle Seahawks go now? They're projected Will Anderson from Alabama, linebacker or edge rusher.
Yeah, Geno Smith has made it interesting there because all of a sudden he's acting like a pro quarterback in about his 10th season.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that 100%. I think going into the season, you get rid of Russell Wilson. You have a stockpile of draft picks set to your way. Geno Smith proved that he could be a starting quarterback in the league, so he deserved his paycheck, and that's one thing you can check off the list. We don't need a quarterback now. We can go to another demand 100%.
I think they like Geno Smith, but I kind of disagree. I think they take the either Stroud or Young, who's ever there. Now Geno Smith may still play there next year, but I think they view him more as a bridge guy. I don't think they're going to commit to Geno Smith long term.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either, Joe. I think there's a good chance if one of those two is on the board still, they may jump them. I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, if they're not sold on them, the next best player in the draft, we always say best next man up, the best available. Well, listen, you got Will Anderson or you got a future quarterback. You can't go wrong with a Young or Stroud. So what do you do at that point? What does Pete Carroll do at that point?
Yeah,
but to me, I'm going with running with Geno Smith. He proved it. Let him play. But yeah, I don't know. How about now the Cardinals here? The Cardinals. A lot of holes, a lot of positions they need to go. They're projected defensive lineman Myles Murphy from Clemson. Do you agree with that one?
Best player on the board, whoever
exactly.
they see. They got a ton of things they got to work on.
They got a lot of needs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, I was on there. Listen, I'm the type of person, you guys know me, I like to stir up trouble on group chats and stuff like that. I went into a Cardinals group chat, talked to them in there, and I said, how about we trade Murray and get some stockpile of picks? Everybody in that group chat said, you're crazy, you're on drugs. What do you guys think about that? If one of the quarterbacks are there, a Stroud or a Young drops down to 4, they're available. Would you ever consider packaging Kyler Murray to someone else and getting another pick and just going with the young quarterback? Would you guys ever do that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You want to give me 2 1s and a 2 for Murray?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Nobody in the group said yes. Everybody was like, "You're crazy."
Now, in a heartbeat, because I don't believe in Kyler Murray. I don't think he's ever winning a Super Bowl, and that's the ultimate goal. The only problem is, we're not looking at the salary cap issue, but his dead cap. If they traded him, his dead cap number, they couldn't sign anybody. You know what I mean? Because of that contract. But yeah, forgetting about the money, if you could get like 2 first-round picks for him and a couple other picks, I would do it.
I agree.
I'd trade you for 2 firsts and a second.
Hell, you probably get 2 7th-round picks and a bag of stale peanuts from me, Bill, the way I am.
Actually, you know what? I got a question for you. Do you think Lamar? I know we're not talking. They're not at the point of the draft, but do you think Lamar Jackson gets traded? Because I heard in Baltimore they are not. They don't look like they want to pay him.
I agree.
I think they move on from him because there's something going on. It's real quiet over there.
But do you stick with Hundley or you go in the draft? Because to me, Lamar Jackson holds the Baltimore Ravens back. They've always been that run first quarterback commitment team. I think what they honestly need is a new system, a pocket quarterback. That's what I think. He's available. He's projected top 15. If he's available, do you grab him and get rid of Lamar because you're going to get 2 first rounds, possibly the farm for this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes to the same thing. What's the package worth? What are you going to get? They don't have anybody to replace him, so they got to get that
exactly
in a deal or an opportunity to get that plus a good package to get rid of them, or else you can't get rid of them.
Yeah, you have to build draft equity plus starting equity as well for your quarterback. So, yeah, I agree with that 100%. How about we talk about the Indianapolis Colts? Now, they're projected, according to many drafts, C.J. Stroud dropping there or a Will Levis dropping there. They're looking at quarterback no matter what.
I think they are looking at quarterback. I sure don't think it should be Will Levis, but if you could get a C.J. Stroud, you take that.
Yeah.
So in
They
this
got
one here,
lots of problems too.
yeah, in this one here, we're looking at best quarterback available pretty much.
Yeah, Stroud.
Okay. All right, let's get to the Detroit Lions. What do you guys think here? A lot of rumors that Goff may be on his way out the way he's playing, but he's playing pretty damn good to me. I think he's solidified.
Goff's numbers his last 5 or 6 games are like elite level quarterback play. You know,
Agreed.
so and they're playing and I mean, what's their? I mean, it sounds, like 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, everybody and their mother would say they were going quarterback, but I'm not so sure now. They may try to go defense. Like maybe
like a Miles Murphy.
Possibly, to play the other edge Hutchinson, or maybe they could go another corner, the opposite side of where they got
Ringo.
The kid from.
Kelly Ringo from
they're looking
Georgia.
they're looking at Kelly Ringo right now as well. Yeah.
Well, they got that kid from Ohio State from a few years back. What the hell?
Yeah, he blew out his Achilles. Achilles tendon.
Right,
Kuda or Judah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's hurt, so they could use another corner to go opposite side of him.
I agree. Well, let's go to a team that really disappointed me this year. I know as well as you, Joe Sullivan. There, the Los Angeles Raiders. I mean, you're a season ticket holder, Joe. What are they going to do?
I say D-line.
They really could use some defense. D-line, they're actually decent. That's actually one of the areas they could use a defensive tackle, but DN, they're pretty good. They got that kid Crosby who's really good.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Really good.
He's really good.
Brees, Joe?
Brees?
Maybe. Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, they could go deep. I mean, Derek Carr's out of there, so they're probably, they could go. I could see them going. I could see the Raiders. You know what would be the splash move? I could see the Raiders and Baltimore being a marriage where the Raiders trade Carr to somebody.
Wow.
Well, no, the Raiders, not necessarily for each other. I'm saying the Raiders trade Carr to like a Jets or something for a couple picks, and then they package a couple picks to get a Lamar Jackson for the Flash out there in Vegas. I can see something like that,
You know what? I think he would be a good fit out there. I mean, you got a great running game, with Jacobs on the outside. I mean, you got Waller, who barely played this year, hurt. You got Devontae Adams, if everybody stays continuity. I think that's a solid offense, really, where Lamar Jackson really doesn't have to run that much, honestly.
I think Jacobs leaves because he sounds very irritated.
I think they all are. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and are they going to? Or is Jarrett Stidham just playing this thing out? He's 26 years old.
Right.
Is he gone? Or are we going to build around him, or where are we going?
Exactly. Yeah,
true.
Yep.
Ironically, he actually looked pretty good Sunday, though. Well, you know what I mean? Like I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either watching him play. But let's move on real quick. We'll get we got 3 more picks and we'll get 2 more and we'll get to the Eagles here. Falcons. What do you guys do with the Falcons? Now they're projected a edge rusher, Tyree Wilson, or now this is surprising. This is that name, Anthony Richardson. 2 draft boards have Anthony Richardson going to the Falcons. I don't see that. I mean, I just can't see a quarterback going to the Falcons right now. Especially Richardson.
They got problems.
Big problems, yeah.
Big problems.
I got Miles Murphy going there.
They're going to take somebody from the Southeast Conference. You can pretty well bet that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're definitely going to stay in the home region down there and go down there. But if it's Anthony Richardson, I'm probably going to probably die of laughter, honestly.
You know what I think?
Don't die of laughter.
Wow.
That kid can play. Kid's going to be able to play.
You think so? You think he can play? Really, Bill? Okay.
He's a
I
big
don't think
kid.
he's going to play next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Tremendous arm.
Big
Tremendous.
kid.
But do you? I mean, what Joe and I said a lot of times with his up and down play. What do you credit that to?
Well, I think he's just got to mature. He's got to play more.
Okay.
He's got to be in a steady system. He had a couple of head coaches, a bunch of coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's a young kid yet. I think he just needs some time, but he's got an arm that's as good as you've seen in a long, long
6'4",
time.
230.
Yeah, tremendous arm.
Okay.
I think he's kind of this kid. I think he might be this year's Malik Willis. Not saying. I mean, I think he. I don't mean that he's not more talented than Malik Willis. I'm just saying. I remember people saying in the draft Malik Willis was be a first round pick. Next thing you look up, he's picked in like the 3rd round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see Richardson going in the like say the 2nd round. You know what I mean? Something like that. Or or I guess if a team really believes in him and you want to get that 5th-year contract, maybe somebody trades up into the back of the 1st round and they got him at like 31 or 32 because they want to have him for 5 years. That's something like that.
Now, there was something I was reading somewhere where even the Packers were talking about drafting a fundamental quarterback for Rodgers because they don't know what's going to happen with him, and they're not sold on Love yet. What do you guys think about the Packers maybe getting a quarterback?
No
way. Aaron Rodgers will murder somebody.
The way it is.
Yeah, really.
Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers if they took another quarterback? My God, dude.
I can see that, Joe. I can see that. All right, let's move on to the Carolina Panthers.
Oof.
What do they need? Where do they need? First, they need to name a head coach. That's what they first number one need.
Right.
But where do they go?
Well, you mentioned the head coach and the Panthers. Did you see the report that with the owner?
Oh, talking about Harbaugh?
Jim, Jim Harbaugh supposedly met with the owner of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, it was all over Twitter. Yeah, he already met him, and they said it was not an interview. It was just a casual conversation. Is how they put it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Casual
and
conversation.
Pigs can fly.
Yeah.
What do you want? How long do you want? How much do you want? That was the conversation pretty much, right?
Wow.
All right, let's talk about your team here. As they stand number 10, I won't even comment. Where do you guys go with the 10th pick right now?
Either Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech, an edge rusher for Barnett and Brandon Graham, his status, or I'm really liking Joey Porter Jr. and Bill could, to kind of get Darius slow play Slay, not Darius big play Slay.
Oh, so he went to slow play now. He's slow play.
Wow.
Small play. I mean,
Bill, you commented on that. I'll let you go back on that one. From Darius big play to slow play. How do you feel about that word play there?
Well, I'm not totally against it, actually. But he's still better than most. He's not big play. I'm not about the whole big play
exactly.
thing.
Thank you. Yeah,
but,
exactly. Small play.
But he's still pretty good. But I'm with Sean. I think maybe I would go DB first and then edge guy. But those are my two spots based on probably the best player available at either one of those spots.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, Sean, from a defensive back perspective, I watched that kid Brian Branch from Alabama, and I'm telling you what, he can play. I mean, he can come off. They send him on blitzes. I like Joey Porter too because of his size. But man, I'll tell you that Branch was impressive. And I know Will Anderson. He's always, and I agree with his size and skill set. He's going to be a quality
that would
pro.
be awesome.
This kid Branch really was impressive, and that bowl game especially. I thought he was one of the best players on the field. And Alabama, as you know, always has some top draft talent, but he just looks to me like he can play. And I just like his playmaking capability. Reminds me of Mika Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Who's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being that it's the Philadelphia Eagles, you never, ever, ever can discount a possible future Lane Johnson replacement at right tackle.
True.
That's what I was going to say.
Especially considering how much they value that offensive line, and if you
I agree. I would look at that. Yeah.
When is the next time we're going to pick in the top 10? And especially you're probably going to lose Sayamalu as a free agent, or at least in all likelihood you could. So if you pick a kid, Lane Johnson said he'd play about 2 more years. If you pick a kid, future right tackle, maybe you make him the right guard for a couple years, and and then you plug him in 2 years, he's starting right tackle.
How about
One of the-
Paris Anderson?
Well, one of
Johnson,
the
I'm
top.
sorry.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
There's a interesting name.
I think Peter Kaczynski out of Pittsburgh.
What about Bill? You might remember this guy's grandfather, Peter Skoronsky, one of the high-rated tackles
Northwestern.
out of Northwestern.
Yeah. Mhm.
His
that's where they
grandfather
have-
played for the Packers, Bob Skoronsky.
Yep. Bob Skoronsky.
Yep. That's where I think they go. We have a little bet between me and some buddies projected. We did it last week, and that's who I have the Eagles going for as a replacement for Lane.
Yeah,
I'm all about O-line, so
Yeah.
if you got a good one, get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
love
but
beef jerky, Jurgensen, man. He's going to be a hell of a player, man.
Mhm.
it's scary. It's scary though, because I mean, you look at it. The Eagles really do need a young corner. So I mean, that's a major thing too. But it's just they always have blinder like about the edge rush and the low line. So I think it's got to be one of them.
Okay. Well,
My
before we
buddy
move,
Maurice, he's always on the college level thing.
now I do have two questions for you guys before we get out of here. Now we touched, Joe, you mentioned this topic right here. I know we touched base on it last week, but let's talk about it now. Since Michigan's eliminated, what do you think that conversation meant between the owner of the Panthers and Jim Harbaugh? What do you think it was like, and what are the chances of him now going since you've already exited from the BCS Championship game? What do you guys think?
I think he's going to go to the NFL.
This year?
Yeah, he had it. He's held out. He got that Michigan thing fixed, turned it back around where it should be or always has been, but then he can't win that big one. It's time. He's going to go.
Okay. What do you think, Tom?
I agree with Bill. I think that's where he wants to be. That's where he was, and it's time to go back. And I guess David Tepper doesn't mind trying to college coach again since he failed with Matt Rule. But no, I think he probably goes.
What about you, Sean?
I totally agree with Bill and Tom because you said, although no one knows the future, I think I will be coaching at Michigan next year. Just the way he says it, I see him going into the big leagues, the NFL.
Okay.
He has something to go back and prove again.
And he's going to get multiple options too. He's
Yeah.
going to
definitely.
get Indianapolis is going to talk to him.
Denver.
Sure, Denver and Carolina and whoever else gets fired on Monday.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
That dreaded Black Monday, huh?
All right.
What do you think, Joe?
Well, I mean, the one job I don't think he'll take. I don't think anybody wants that Denver
Denver.
job.
Oh.
So that's I mean,
They're in a,
you
they're
really want to.
atrocious.
I was gonna say you really want to be stuck with Russell Wilson the way he looks right now.
And no draft capital at all.
But Carolina is an interesting place as far as, I mean, you don't have a quarterback, but you have, Tepper's like the richest owner in football. I didn't know that, but I always thought it was Jerry Jones or somebody, but Tepper's the richest guy there. So he could, he could offer Harbaugh possibly the best contract in the league. If he wants to wine and dine him, he can certainly do it.
Yeah.
So I say he goes.
Yeah.
I actually think he stays. I think, just like Bill said, you couldn't get over the hump. You couldn't beat Michigan. You couldn't beat Ohio State. Well, you did that this year. You climbed that mountain. And what better way from your alumni to actually, you made it to the semifinals 2 years in a row. Well, last year, the first round, last year exit, this year exit. 2 years in a row. You couldn't beat Penn State. You couldn't beat Ohio State. You beat those teams. This year, you couldn't get over getting to the national championship. I think he stays one more year. Because I think the opportunity is going to be there. Just the name of Harbaugh, I think he's always going to get a head coaching nod somewhere. So I think he stays for at least one more year to see if he can get to the pinnacle. That's just me. But who the hell knows, man? Who the hell knows? But my last thing for you guys real quick. I know we have the national championship game. What are your picks real quick?
I'm going to go.
Minus 14 here.
I'm going Georgia. I'm going Georgia still. But if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I'd take those 14 points, and I would take TCU in the points. But I think Georgia's going to win the game.
What do you think the score is, Bill?
Oh, I take the over. What did you say it was?
62 and a half.
62 and a half.
Oh.
That's what, 35-28? 35-28?
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
60
I'll
right
go.
there.
I'll go 38-30.
Close. Okay. That's a cover for TCU. Okay. Tom, I'll go with you. What do you got a score?
So I agree with Bill in terms of the over.
Okay.
You know, I want to go with Georgia, and I think that's going to be a little bit more. I think Georgia maybe puts 45 up, and maybe 45. I'm going to go 45-35.
Okay.
I
Still a
think there's
cover
going
on
to be some
Georgia.
points scored
Okay.
and a cover. Yeah.
Okay. Sean, what do you got?
Over Georgia, 45-31.
45-31. All right. 14 points. Okay, you're good. Joe, what we got?
I'm going to be the oddball, actually. Sometimes in these championship games, there's a little nerves early or whatever. So I'm going to say Georgia like 28-24, 28-21. So I'm actually going under.
Oh, you're going under. Damn, I put you on over there. Everybody's going over here. Okay.
Okay. Not bad.
And you guys know I'm a big
I'm just
betting man. I'm going a big betting man here. Smart bet with TCU plus 14. I think that's an easy given number. I think they do cover the 14. But I'm actually going to go TCU in an upset here. I just feel the way they played right now, they're playing with house money, a Cindrella team here. What better way to go into the national championship game being a Cindrella where David versus Goliath, you're not given a shot. You've already proved the world wrong. I'm going to go TCU 37, Georgia 34. I think it's a late second field goal. I think we're going to see that play in Kansas State where it's going to rush on the field, kick the field goal, walk off.
How about that? Yeah, that was incredible execution.
It was.
I'd be happy if that happened.
I just, you know,
Yeah,
what?
that would
I
be
just want a
cool.
good game. I just want a good
You can't
game.
be
where I can
mad.
sit there and watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want a good game where I can sit there and watch. I don't want a route where it's 52-20. I don't want to see it. I don't want to turn my TV off at halftime. I want to watch the
52-0.
Yeah.
I guess the supplemental question is, Sonny Dykes pulls this off. Where does he go from here? Does he stay at TCU, or do they roll out the red carpet anywhere else to get him?
Probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
No,
really.
no disrespect to TCU, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, is he?
Well, where does he go? Where does he go? Where do you think he goes, Tom? Since you opened it, I'll let you. You're his agent.
So as I do go over my skis here, I don't know what's really open now. Obviously, next year he's probably committed, but I'm saying down the road, it's now Sonny Dykes become a hot property to move to the elite schools. Again, not taking a shot at TCU, but you know, if I'm in a room and it's TCU or it's LSU, I'm going to LSU, or somewhere in the SEC most likely. I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on. I mean, he can coach clearly, and does he take? What's next?
Tom, maybe that Michigan job opens if Harbaugh goes to the pros.
Good point. Yeah.
I think definitely you want to get out of the Big 12 and go to a Big 10 conference or an SEC team. I think it's a stepping stone. Big 12, Pac-12. I think it's a stepping stone. Big 10, SEC. Then what's the next step? May I get my shot at the pros?
Or Penn State.
Yeah, you never need to. That's another 9 years with Franklin.
Oh goodness, yeah. Don't remind me.
But real quick before we get out of here, what do you guys think about Petrino? Did you guys see what happened to him?
Bobby Petrino, is he back in the news?
Well, he committed to where was the guy?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
he signed to go coach there, and then like 3 or 4 days later left. He's leaving, and he's going to Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, as an offensive coordinator.
Yes,
for Jimbo Fisher.
Yes,
him and Jimbo deserve each other.
Really? Left UNLV less than a month.
Yeah, Sean, UNLV. I forgot where I see it. Somebody sent it to me.
Oh wow,
Yep.
Okay, I did see that, Paul. All right, wow. I didn't realize he left. I didn't realize he skipped to go to A&M.
I couldn't believe I was in the hospital. I thought I tore my Achilles yesterday, so I went to the hospital last night and today. Nothing happened. It was a strained tendon, but somebody sent it to me, and I'm like, this is like a hoax or something. This can't be true. He committed here or whatever. I'm like, 3 days later, he goes to Texas A&M, and I'm like, oh, this is a joke. Then when I got home, I'm like, holy crap, he really did.
Nothing would surprise me with those two.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
real quick, last thing I want to ask you guys real quick. I know we're not here yet. This is next year. Give me your one sleeper team for next year, really quick. I'm going to write this down, and next year we'll come and visit this on this date. I'll
Penn
start with
State.
you. Penn State, really?
They're going to be
Penn
really
State.
good.
Okay.
Really, really
That's
good.
That's a very good pick.
Okay.
Let's think about this a little
I'm
bit.
going to give you mine real quick. Bill, you got me on this wagon. Florida State.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Another good pick.
Yeah.
I like Florida State.
They loaded up with the portal.
Yes, they did. And I love that 6'7" receiver they have, Johnny. I've never seen a guy like that. Oh, goodness. 6'7" wide receiver.
I got one for you, Paul. Not necessarily a sleeper team as good as the ones that you guys just named. But I think Wisconsin's going to be a lot better just because of their coach,
Luke Fickell.
They just got a transfer quarterback in to run the run and gun. I forgot what his name was. It's not going to be the old Wisconsin
Markel or something.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they have a little bit of a comeback, Wisconsin.
Okay. I like them. I think I'm going to give them a couple years because it's a new player system coming into Wisconsin. Because I think it's going to be. I love Luke Fickell though. I wanted him at Notre Dame. Honestly, I really did. I like that. I like that Wisconsin. I like that pick.
Yeah,
Tom, what do you got?
Gosh, I'm really scratching my head because I don't want to jump on Bill's bandwagon, but I do agree with that. I think Penn State could be a sleeper next year with the talent. Trying to some surveying the landscape here.
Like
Florida
Texas.
State, great. You know what? I could sign up for Texas. I could sign up for Texas. I like Sean's pick with Florida State. Definitely a team that's played well at the end of the year.
I said Florida State.
Oh, you did, Paul? Okay.
Sean, what do you got?
Oh, man. I'm going to go UCLA.
Chipper.
UCLA, huh?
He can't spell defense either.
No, he can't.
Nah.
I'm waiting to see UCLA play UCLA again. I just love offense. There is no defense at all.
Probably. Say Notre Dame. Go with Notre Dame.
If Hartman comes, I could probably see top. I definitely going to see a top 6 team next year. But as a Notre Dame fan, I hate to say it. I kind of agree with Bill and even Tom on that one. Penn State, they're trending in the right direction.
I do too. I think Penn State's going to be real good.
I agree 100%.
If anything, all in all, I have to go with Florida State. You hit it right on the head with that, man.
I love them. Top 5 recruiting class, and playing what they're playing with right now. Great coaching system. I think they're poised right now. I really do.
Yeah.
And playing in the ACC, it's pretty easy to win that ACC. Clemson's on its way down. You beat Clemson.
They are.
And you pretty much got a nice run to a top 6. Top 6 standing at the BCS finals there. So I agree with that one.
I have to go with you.
Hey, Paul, I have one more thing I just want to throw out. I just got this text from my son.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it to California. The national championship isn't allowing any tailgating. What is college football without a good tailgate before it?
Wait, what?
It's at SoFi Stadium, right?
Yeah.
No tailgating, huh?
What? I don't know other than that text I just got while we were sitting here.
Can you ask your son, do they have a curfew when they got to be home?
Right?
What kind of bullshit is that?
Right?
So who's bringing the bottles with the milk?
That's the most that's the most un-American shit I ever heard in my life. What do you mean?
No, we are talking
the
California
fucking game?
now. That's a different beast out there.
Yeah, what do you got? What do guys have to? What do you have to ask permission to go get a piece of tail? You know what I mean? What kind of bullshit is that?
Exactly.
Mother, may I have another?
Hey, Paul, is it too late to change my sleeper?
Listen, you can do whatever you want until we get that finish line. Really, South Carolina?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I like Beamer ball,
back,
and,
right?
They got a couple transfers too. Damn it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The last thing I want to say real quick. We have a comment out there, and we'll leave it at this one right here. What about the Colorado Buffaloes?
But I think in time, definitely.
Yeah.
I said, 2-3 year window.
Yeah.
He should be able to get talent.
That's if Deion stays 2 to 3 years.
I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's this year or not, but I think he's going to do a good job there.
I agree.
He'll get talent for sure and turn it around.
Yeah.
And so USC and UCLA, they're still leaving in 2 years, and
Yes.
that changes the whole. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He might be going by then anyway, but yeah, I think he's going to do a good job. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, with the transfer portal, I mean, half the players, he's already contact with them. He already has.
Got to get exactly.
He already has them in the Rolodex right here. Like,
Yep.
I can make you $1 million. I can make you $2 million. They can make you 3. But then again, you know what? I can make you 5 again. Whatever you want to make, I can make you. Come with me. We'll get you set. But yeah, I mean, man, but I can't wait till this. This Monday night we got the TCU Georgia game. I want a good game, boys, and
yeah.
Leading up. I mean, this is like I don't want to be discouraged about the game. I want a great game because leading up to the bowl games that we had so far, man, it's been insane. It's like a teaser to hopefully what we get on Monday night coming up, But
yep. Well, hey, I pulled up real quick. I Googled up tailgating at the national championship, and that is indeed the case.
Wow.
And they're saying it's initiated by the college football playoff system, not by SoFi Stadium. But it says tailgating will not be allowed in any SoFi Stadium parking lot. I'm going to have to stay home here in Florida and watch it on TV.
Yeah, I think I will too. I was, yeah, right. Like, what is national championship? Imagine, you play to get here, all the fans going out there to get tickets, and it's just like, okay, honey, let's get to the car. From the car to the stadium, there is no tailgating. There is no stopping and talking to your friends. To the game, and that's it. Like, tailgating is 6 o'clock in the morning for an 8 o'clock game.
Right?
Oh boy.
Especially the ball. I mean, not for anything, but the balls on them people. I mean, the money they charge for tickets, and you can't even get FU.
Yeah.
My ass.
So what are they going to have? Parking lot security out there? Guys on the ballpark, riding vehicles saying no tailgating. Put that grill away. What are they going to like? Are you serious? It's
serving warm milk bottles and pacifiers.
Oh goodness!
And bibs.
That's insane. Oh man. Well, the league and the quarterback, you can play quarterback in the league. You never get hit. Now college football, you can't tailgate. What the hell's going to happen next? Who knows?
Here's a good one too. This is a quote from the article. SoFi Stadium has specifically noted that tailgating in electric vehicle marked parking stalls is not prohibited, which is hilarious because we all know there will be dozens of open electric vehicle spots surrounding the stadium.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
right.
Really.
Exactly. Yep. Oh my God.
California, baby.
Exactly.
Well,
oh man.
They're rare, man. They're rare out there. Wow.
That is insane. All right, guys, before we get out of here, anybody want to say any parting words, out there? Bill, I'll let you start first. If you got anything to say to anybody out there?
Well, just as we opened the show, I'll say the same thing. DeMar Hamlin can only hope and pray every second he's getting better. And, we've all been around the game and having coached it for a long time. And I coached my own kids as well, seen bad things, but nothing quite like this. But it certainly could be any of the kids we've ever been around or anything. And it's just awful. And hope and pray for DeMar that he gets through this thing and all goes well.
Agree. Tom?
Well, I just want to thank you guys for letting me jump on and participate. It's a lot of fun. As Joe probably mentioned, I just enjoy. I'm a big college guy. That's what I usually focus on. And it was really neat to talk to you guys, and love to come back sometime. And but otherwise, no, it was a great show, and thanks again for having me on.
Absolutely.
All right, Sean.
Thanks,
What do you got?
Just a thing that Bill said, prayers for DeMar, it's a scary injury, and just hope he pulls through and can go on with his life. And that's about it.
And the John.
Yeah, same. I mean, obviously, prayers to that kid, and especially because by all accounts, he seems like an awesome person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd be praying for anybody it happened to, but especially him. I mean, he seems like a really good guy. A 6th round, he's got that foundation that, like, I think there's like 6 million. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So hopefully the kid pulls through. And yeah, Tom, it's been great having you on. We definitely would like
Thanks.
to have you
Mhm.
back. And
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah,
and
it's fun. Love to do it.
and Paul, I hope you're correct about this game, because I think it'd be a great story to see TCU win this game. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hope you're right on your prediction, because that would be awesome.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I mean, first and
Love
foremost, you know,
Cinderellas, man.
exactly. I would love to see in the last kickoff just the way they beat Kansas State. I think that would be the icing on the cake to make it happen. But either way, I would love a great game. But Tom, thank you for showing up. You know, hopping
Sure.
on. The door is
Sure.
always open. You know, it doesn't matter who we have on here. Here, you know, it's 5 guys. You know, tonight it's 5 guys with myself, just talking college football. Nothing better to do than that. I love talking college football. And when we get together, it's the script never. You know, we don't go by the script. It's whatever happens, happens. That's what I like it. But prayers for, you know, DeMar Hamlin as well. Just like
Sure.
Bill. I coached my son since 5 years old to 14. You know, all the way from NESAC, Keystone League to Pop Warner, you know, CYO, all the way through. And Joe,
Mhm.
you guys know, early in the season, I coached Pop Warner up here, and one of my guys had a concussion, a legal hit in practice, and he laid out. After he got up, he walked to the car, and he collapsed in his house as soon as he walked in. Went to the hospital, was in ICU for 7 days. So
Wow.
that hit me hard. A
Sure.
13-year-old kid, you know, where you coach, you're not only a coach, man. At that moment, you become a human being, number one, regardless of who he is, what team he plays for. You stand by his side. You know, I remember in the hospital, 24 hours in the hospital, standing outside the room with his parents inside, waiting for updates, because God forbid if something happened. Number one, you blame yourself. You know, you can't blame yourself, but it does happen in many ways. You think that way, but I just want the kid to get better. Of course, all prayers to him. Just like you said, you know, in the beginning of the show, I said we're a fraternity of fans. Number one, you know, we stand by all the players out there, and prayers to DeMar Hamlin that you and your family find a way through this, and you know, see the better side of life. You know, the way it is right now, laying in bed.
Mm-hmm.
But
Amen.
speaking of that, man, let's get out of here real quick. Myself, Paul Spencer, Joe Sullivan, Sean Kilrain, Bill Furman, Tom, I'm sorry, I didn't even get your last name.
Sutton.
Sutton, there we go. And of
Sutton.
course, Mike Morrow, who left earlier because he's a Penn State fan. He couldn't handle being with Notre Dame fans as well. But, you know,
It is hard.
it is. I know it is. But for myself, we will see you next week, next Wednesday night, 8 p.m., talking about who that college champion is going to be for the year. So for myself, all the crew at Out of the Box, we'll see you next week. Have a great night. Enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.